Well, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it happens to be, from Lake Charles, Louisiana. A place I was not exactly expecting to go, not just on this trip, but ever. As I stand here in front of this statue of Captain Daniel Johannes Goose, looking out over the water, Winter Storm Fern is barreling down on the country, a massive snow and ice storm stretching all across the Northeast, all the way down well into Texas and even New Mexico, which has entirely blocked my progress west. Yesterday, as I stand out here, was the 1 month anniversary of the passing away of my friend, Adam the Woo. And so I didn't post a video, didn't film anything, just kind of spent the day reflecting. I have been on a vision quest, making my way back home to California. I decided to do it by car so that I'd have a lot of time to think and process and things, because there wasn't a lot of time for that while I was there in Florida to help lay my friend to rest. And I knew I had a lot of emotions to work through, a lot of feelings to work through, and so I built this picture in my head of this epic road trip back home, which that picture has totally changed. When I was in Dalton, Georgia with my friend Tyler Evans, who was also Adam's former roommate, kind of laughing, talking about old stories and stuff like that, I thought I would travel northwards up into Tennessee, maybe across the middle of the country, maybe link up with Route 66 somewhere, something like that, since it is, after all, the 100th anniversary of Route 66. But while I was there, it became pretty obvious that this winter storm was going to heimbuck basically the whole eastern half of the country. And as Adam's dad said the other day when I was describing my plans, yeah, I'm from Southern California. He goes, you guys can't even spell cold down there. That is very, very true. I am totally unequipped, mentally and physically, for ice on the roads, and so I knew I better head south as quick as possible, try to avoid the storm. But the storm is going to cover pretty much everything. It's even going to hit here, Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is just near the border of Texas, which is off that way, and pretty much up against the Gulf of Mexico, a little down to the south. This will be one of the warmest and therefore the lightest hit spots. We're just gonna get a little glaze of ice here. So ice, not a big deal where I'm standing, but farther west in Texas, all along the I-10 corridor where I would have to travel to get home, the most southerly and quickest route, there are expected to be crazy amounts of ice that way, which will be impeding my progress. So since I'm in sort of one of the warmest and safest spots that I could get to, I might as well hunker down here for a few days, and that's exactly what I've decided to do. And look at this little park right here. I believe this must probably be a small 9/11 memorial at this miniature lake. Sort of a sad little spot right here. Anyway, most of the wind and the rain, the thunder, and the ice is coming tomorrow, so I have one day to sort of walk around and make preparations. I grabbed some supplies just in case the power does go out. That took me most of the morning, but now I've got a chance to sort of wander around the historic part of St. Charles downtown, which is just off this way. Not that I really feel like wandering around. I'm sort of bummed out, really. I mean, not just about all the things that have been happening lately, but also just being stuck in Lake Charles. But if I'm gonna be stuck in a hotel room for 2 or 3 days, my philosophy is, might as well get up now and roam around while I can. This is also probably as good a time as any to mention that yesterday I cracked a tooth, so that's also irritating me. See, what happened was I got into a fight with some potato chips in my mouth, and a tooth with an old filling in it just sort of cracked apart. Not too painful, but it is very annoying. I stuck some of that temporary stuff, Dentex stuff in my mouth. It just feels weird. So if I'm slurring my words a little bit, that's why. Lake Charles supposedly has a history dating back all the way to the 18th century, but successive hurricanes have destroyed a lot of the historic district over the years, most of it being from the late 1800s and early 1900s, so I thought I'd come down here and just check out what there is to see. Now, granted, there's a massive winter storm coming in that has even the people of Lake Charles totally decimating the shelves of Costco and Walmart and sucking up all the water and portable stoves and portable heaters and such like. But the answer appears to be not that much down here. Just a couple blocks, some newer apartment buildings, people getting ready for Mardi Gras down here. I see some cool old-fashioned but modern murals scattered throughout this little tiny historic downtown. Not much else going on today, though. Not much else. Oh, here we have downtown's coolest vibes. At the Emporium, musical whimsy, funky and cool finds. They've got some Kiss plants, and they're buying records. Pretty cool little record shop in there. A couple of guitars for sale. I actually thought about buying a guitar on this trip. Just to write some songs or fiddle around or whatever. But unfortunately, getting a hotel for this many nights in a row here in Lake Charles has cost me so much extra money. I don't think it would be wise to continue that plan. I'd probably abandon that plan. Oh, looks like this says a vintage market across the street. The Fair. Let's take a walk over there. See what's going on. Oh my gosh, it's air conditioned. Ooh, this might be fancier stuff than I was really hoping for, but I do like that. Ah, cool. Pretty cool antique store. Old bike. Some appropriate Mardi Gras stuff. Look at this. Even more records to sort through. Too bad I don't have a record player with me. I like this painting though. Look at this guy. Yeah. Look at this. Maybe I could put this up in the hotel room. I'll feel less lonely. I could be part of the Lopez family. The girl at the counter was so shocked to see anyone walking. She's like, oh, hey. Downtown is not exactly bumping today. But that's okay. Oh, look at this. A saddle. I could get a horse. Horses could ride through the ice, right? Oh, I was on the same record label as these guys, but you won't find one of my t-shirts in here. Pretty good, pretty cool random selection of antiques and knickknacks and random stuff, but nothing that really struck my fancy. Nothing I couldn't live without. I love these old buildings like this. Those are cool. Look at this. There's a stage area set up in the back of this patio next to the Luna Bar and Grill. Getting ready for Mardi Gras all over the place. I have no concept of when that is. I know Lent's coming soon. That's all I know. You can totally tell that there's some party rocking going on here on the weekends, but nothing much right now. Here you have Tia Juanita's Fish Camp. Normally they serve up some gumbo and stuff here, some fish and shrimp. Everything is very weirdly closed and quiet for a weekday drink. Everybody's getting ready for this storm that most of the people here are like, nothing's gonna hit us. It never does. So yeah, like I was saying, when you head over to Walmart, that tells a different story because there ain't nothing on the shelves anymore. The toilet paper is gone. There are some casinos in town, which is why I feel fairly confident that they'll restore power quickly if indeed it does go out. A lot of hotels and people that are going specifically to the casinos, although there's plenty of vacancies. A lot of people canceled their travel plans. Look at this though, I love these murals, I guess you could say. These old advertisements, probably recreated, but I just love that the Walgreens one here says the most complete cigar department. I highly doubt that's how they advertise themselves anymore. On the map, this street, Broad Street, sort of looks like it would be the main drag downtown, but you can see there's a bunch of vacancies, some holes where the old buildings used to be. Got some more clothing shops here. I'm mostly only rolling up this way. Oh, this is cool. Little MLK mural on the ground. I'm mostly only cruising down this way because I saw some old neon up ahead. I like that right there. Stellar Beans. Came to get some coffee, or I was hoped I could get some coffee, but even Stellar Beans happens to be closed right now. Everything, the yoga center, it's all closed. This is cool. This must all be like bits and pieces of old art projects. Never trust a dog to watch your food. Never hold a dustbuster and a cat at the same time. That's very good advice. I think this might be a place to buy hooch and hear live music, not so much get coffee. The Panorama Music House. That's a cool piece of neon up there though. I don't know if it's actual neon or a recreation of neon. Oh, I do see an antique store down there. I see some lights on, maybe it is open. Everything else is pretty much closed except for a couple of bars with nobody in them. Looks like this place is called Van Gogh Antiques. Some murals on the sidewall over here. It's right across the street from the radio station. Which radio station? Look at the sign there. Apparently all of them. Don't get me wrong, by the way, there's quite a bit more to downtown. There are more sections of downtown. I was just going for what the internet told me was the historic district over here. Look at this. I like that. It can't rain all the time. It's a good reminder, especially with the storm coming in. Look at this before I wander into this antique store. Look at this old Art Deco traffic control box built by Southern Signals Incorporated out of Shreveport, Louisiana. We used to make things in this country. I have no idea what this is for. Traffic signals, I guess, back in the day. Definitely a relic of a bygone time. Oh, there's a keyhole in here, but it does not open. All right, not only do I see those light bulbs on in the windows, but I saw a man come out of here. Recent Relics. Maybe that's actually the name. I don't know why I thought it was called Van Gogh, other than the giant painting of Van Gogh on the side. Well, let's go in. Oh, this is cool. A little more curated than the last stop. Look at this. They've got tapestries. Look at this old telephone book. That's amazing. Hardcover telephone book. I like this. They got some old newspapers and books. They also have some old magazines in here. That's a good reminder right there. I've never seen Barbie's Dream Boat before that I remember. Very suitable for southern Louisiana. Boy, this place keeps going and going. Man, great town to collect records in. A lot of records. But what is up with all the deer with wigs on in this town? Definitely some unusual items here, which is always nice to see. Nice to see something you've never seen before. Well, that ate up a little bit of time. Once again, nothing I couldn't live without. But always good to look around. Look at all them radio stations. Maybe I could get a job for the weekend here. Warning, ice might be coming. So there's our cruise down Broad Street, or whatever that other street was. Hey, this is called Bilbo Street right here. That's what that street sign says, this cross street. Bilbo Baggins. And suddenly all I have is Leonard Nimoy's song stuck in my head. Come eat at Buffy's on the corner of Bilbo and Broad. Just decided to walk down Bilbo Street just so I could say that I did. And apparently I've stumbled on the local television station parking lot back here. Kind of interesting. In today's news on Bilbo Street, nothing happened. KPLC and Fox 29 broadcasting from Bilbo Street. Back over by the Emporium now. Saw this mural over here earlier. Just wanted to come and take a look. Closer look. What's up with all the mattresses, by the way? Downtown Historic District and Mattress District. See here what I presume are some pioneering families and their servants or something. I don't know. Up there's some cable cars and factories. I love looking at murals. I mean, these days images mean nothing to us. Computers can make them and we scroll by them all so fast. We forget how hard it is to create something like this and how much it actually represents. Thing is I have so much reason to remember lately. Life goes by in the blink of an eye. We only have one. And so I think our instinct is like, we gotta cram in as much as possible. Swipe, 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 swipe. Then it's like the more you do, the busier and more hectic that your life gets. It feels like the less you do. And in my experience, weirdly, you know, the more long form content we consume, so things like movies or longer videos and things, documentaries and stuff, and the more we go outside and kind of slow down, the more I feel like I've gotten done, if that makes any kind of sense. A brain is a delicate instrument. Oh, look at this old department store. I love that that old roof is still there, but also look at the old name of it right here in the ground. You know how proud these people probably were to open this place up? Maybe they sold appliances and stuff. Looks very 1950s, possibly 40s. Gone now, all gone. Now it's Muller's Lofts. It definitely looks like it used to be a store, at least down in the bottom. Probably killed by JCPenney and Sears and the malls, which in turn were killed by Amazon and Walmart and such. And life keeps on moving. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the brain is a delicate instrument. Be careful what you do with it, or it could very quickly go out of tune. All right, downtown might have been wrecked over and over by storms and flooding and the ravages of time, but there is supposed to be a very cool historic district, meaning like neighborhoods, right? Like old houses and stuff, just up around the corner. Sorry, I don't have the cleanest windshield right now. I've been doing a lot of traveling and bug slaying with the car. Anyway, I'm gonna go look for it. The Charpentier, I believe it's called, historic district is somewhere up here. just around the corner. Actually, according to the street signs, I'm already in it. Guess I'm gonna have to hunt around a little bit for the best stuff. Oh wow, I haven't found one spot like thickly covered with old houses yet, but look at this one here. Gorgeous. Quite a few of these old giant stately homes spread around as I've been driving around. Look at that one. Look at the size of that porch up there. Forrest Gump's house, eat your heart out. It's pretty neat with the ivy growing on the porch. A lot of southern charm in this building, but look at this. I find this even more impressive. These huge, I think they're live oak trees. Look how massive they are. Oh wow, you know somebody was proud of these palms when they planted them. Like, look at these little palmetto things we got growing on either side of the driveway. Wow. As is the case in almost any town with old historic buildings, except for somewhere really populated like California or New York or somewhere. A lot of these old historic homes look like they could use a little work. But gosh, that's impressive. Look at that. Oh, hi, kitty. What are you doing? You peeping? He's a peeping Tom cat. I've encountered a lot of friendly cats on this trip. So you were gonna leave me and now you're gonna hang out? Aw, I don't know if you guys can see that. There's literally cats running around all over this street. There's a black one with no tail right there on the porch. They are all over the place. Hope they have somewhere to shelter if the ice comes. There are 3 cats on your screen right now. Look at this little tuxedo cat right there. Oh, they're all so tiny. They all just look like kittens. Hello. Oh, wow. Hello. Dude, they're everywhere. They're in the bushes here in front of this house, down along the sidewalks, running across the road, sitting in people's porch chairs. Dude, look at this old house. This is now the administrative offices for the First United Methodist Church. That is amazing. I guess as a port town, you know, you had a lot of merchants down here in Lake Charles. There's probably a lot of money coming in and out, but you also had doctors and lawyers and judges and everything else. I wonder who lived here. Beautiful. Man, every single one of these houses is a lot bigger and more grand than anything I've ever lived in or grew up around. Very cool. This is one of the modest ones, and I was just thinking, man, I'd love to live in something that, well, that big, first of all, but just that cool looking. Hi, kitty. So many cats. Dude, where I live in Southern California, these would be, I don't know, $3, $4, $5 million houses, depending on the neighborhood. Pretty wild. Oh yeah, here we go. Some very cool houses. As I've been driving around, spotted more and more of them. Man, it's the porches for me, look at that. And those huge old trees. Dude, how gorgeous are those houses? Wow, look at that. Some kind of historic plaque on this one. I can't read it from here. There's a fence in the way, but there's a lot of stained glass on the windows on this house too. That is neat. Some of them are a little bit newer looking. Early 1900s and such. They're all gorgeous. Dude, that one there looks like the frickin' White House. This is cool. Usually I do this in every other town I travel to as well, but it's more of an afterthought, like, drive around quickly, try and absorb some of the local flavor, architecture. There's that house we saw at first from the other side. Boy, is it big. Today, that's pretty much all I've got to do. Couldn't find a coffee spot open anywhere, a small one, I mean. I'm sure Dunkin' Donuts is open somewhere. Antique stores didn't yield much. Most places are closed today, except for Walmart and Target and stuff. I spent enough time in those early this morning. Dude, if there's a town with this many old buildings in Southern California, well, there are a few. There's Orange, California, which is not quite as crazy as this. You got places like Pasadena. It would just be very expensive is what I was gonna say. Like, very pricey. You can see a lot of these old houses have been turned into law offices and such like. That's normal everywhere. Dude, look at that one on the corner. That is so cool. I'd love to live in a house with a tower. You know? Make some creepy light come out of that thing at night so people think I'm creating a monster. Whoop, time to go. Oh, there's a house that's seen better days. Do not adjust your set. That house is in fact leaning. And another cat is right in front of it. Wow, it's very quiet today. Like even with my windows rolled down, it seems extra quiet. Everything is just paused. This old mid-century church. Oh, there's the newspaper, the American Press. Now I'm gonna go, instead of looking for old buildings, look for something else that's old that might be interesting to see. There's a couple museums in Lake Charles, but they are closed today. Everybody's closing up early for the storm. Everybody's sort of taking an extra long weekend. But there's one old interesting thing I do not expect to be closed today. We'll find out shortly. Look at that, 2 houses, 190K and 120K. Oh, here it is, here it is. It's the old Catholic cemetery. Oh, this looks closed too. The gate didn't look like it had a lock on it, but I couldn't find anywhere to park. Let me see what I could do. Okay, this is apropos of nothing, but that is a cool looking RV. All right, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to park right there. I think we can get away with it for a few minutes. But there was a gap in the fence. Obviously there are a lot of graves whose stones are now sort of buried. But look at this, there's some old school above ground graves because the water is so close to the surface here. In fact, pretty much standing in a marshy pond. Very like the old French cemeteries and French cemeteries in New Orleans. It is very wet. Every step I take through here squishes and my feet are now soaked. We've got plenty of time to dry in the hotel though while I'm locked in for the storm. This is very cool. I don't know what they do now. I think they do 30 days of prayer when someone dies. And of course there are commemorative masses still for the dead when it comes to the Catholic Church. But in ancient times, much like Eastern Orthodox or even earlier faiths, going all the way back to ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia, there was a belief that you pray for the dead for 40 days. And we're still within 40 days of my good friend. So I've been thinking about him a lot. This is very interesting. There's all these tombstones or headstones piled up over here. I don't think that these are above the graves. There's a whole bunch of mounds and discolored patches out here. I don't know if they're removed for restoration or if they've just slowly, one by one, been vandalized and moved over into this area. But you can see a whole bunch more stacked up over here. This looks like there's some kind of project going on because I see some bricks in the cemetery piled up and some modern stuff. You see some of them have been broken. And you can see where a lot of these are very overgrown. So this looks like the kind of thing I would hope where, oh, that one's not even that old over here. Oh, yes, it is, 1854, it just doesn't look that old. I would hope this is the kind of thing where they've been cleaning it up and they're gonna glue those back together and try to restore them. Although, I don't know. Look at the crazy angle some of these are at. Clearly this place was abandoned for a long, long time. You can see this one all pushed over here. John Murphy. Once had a pretty cool towering log of a headstone. Much like this one, log shaped. Interesting. Looks like they're trying to clean this place up. Driving through the neighborhoods here. It's not the hottest part of town I've seen. Oh, there's a big pit right here. Look at that. Not the most hippest happening spot. But it does look like it's on the up. Seen some new buildings. That's just cool looking. How crazy is it to live right there though? I think there's actually a wig shop on the other half of this building. But how crazy would it be to live right there and just look out your window like, yep, the neighbors are still being peaceful. A lot of French names out here, as you would expect, from an old Catholic cemetery in Louisiana. I'm not even going to begin to try to pronounce all those names. Oh, look, the children get a nice view of the graves as they drive by. It's just wild to me that this is just kind of right here in the neighborhood. Although, like my friend Mike, he lives across the street from a cemetery. I got a couple of friends who actually live right by cemeteries. Tyler Evans' apartment is very near a cemetery. We were driving by the other day and I said, well, at least the neighbors are quiet. Marie Valerie Fournay. She died in 1896. I like to read them out loud in my head as I'm going by. If I should ever be so lucky as to have a grave, something like this that stands out that you definitely can see as you go by, I think I'd like to have my name spoken out loud, you know. That way, even if I'm forgotten by everyone else, as is very likely to happen to all of us one day, you know, it's nice to think that maybe your name would be somewhere, maybe someone would say a little prayer, or just say your name out loud, or just wonder about you. And Michael Wood right here, and Ellen Wood, John Wood, David Wood, and another Michael Wood. All died in the 1800s to, I think the latest one was 1901. They didn't live that long ago. There could be photos of them. There could be living descendants in this town, but look at this. You can just see all that standing water here. That's why they put the final resting crypts above ground. And no, nothing wrong with the camera. These things are at crazy angles, just sinking in to the ground. Whew. Can't read that name. Died July 24th, 1906. So this was an active cemetery until not that long ago. Not that long ago. There are people alive today who could have come here with their parents to see the graves of their grandparents or great-grandparents. Maybe they're the ones who've gotten together to help clean this place up. But look at all this. Could have been done by vines or falling trees, because there's clearly pits here where there used to be more trees in the cemetery. Storm damage or vandalism. Street youths, teenagers, hoodlums. Dude, even in my wildest teenage years, though, I don't think I would have come out and broke a cross on a grave. Oh, look at, here's Henry. It says Henry right down there in the concrete, even with the headstone messed up. Maybe it's growing up right near the haunted mansion, but I would never desecrate a grave. I'd be very worried about hitchhiking ghosts. I don't know much about the afterlife. I've never been there. But I like to think that if you take a respectful stroll through the cemetery, that somehow, somewhere, they know, you know? Anyway, on that cheerful note, I 100% need some coffee now. So there you go, old downtown and surrounding areas. Lake Charles, Louisiana, for no reason other than this is where I am and I like to look at things. Time to get some coffee. Wow. Wow, look at that old church. I think that's the old city hall right there. On Bilbo Street, no less. Look at that thing. That might be a courthouse beyond it. There's a modern courthouse in town, so that might be a historic one. Cruise past that really quick. On Ryan Street over here, there's always a Ryan. Okay, yeah. That is a very impressive building with a very impressive dome on the back. We can't see here from the street. Or you can see a little bit of it right there. Very cool. And then pretty much, we're back downtown, very close to where we started. I guess this is where I give up. Excuse me, sir. And go and hunt for some coffee and head back to my hotel. Much like yesterday when I was trying to go to the gator farm, I called around a little bit this morning, to some other like gator related places, also to the Tony Chacheries or Chaches, however you want to pronounce it. I've heard a million different ways. I've heard a million different ways down here in Louisiana. I think it's Chacheries. To their factory store and tour. Everybody's either closing today early or was closed already or didn't answer. So that's what we got. We get a little drive around Lake Charles. That is not going to stop us from having an adventure. Not our normal adventure, but we had an adventure nonetheless. By the way, down along the lake here, a lot of nice, look at these lake houses on the right. People's boat houses right there. I don't think people who could afford those are actually living in them. I think they're living here across the street in some of these. Look at those. Guess the tradition of building large grand houses in Lake Charles has not died off. It's just shifted to a different neighborhood. Whew. What is it like to live in one of those? Or one of these? Or one of those? Or that one? Or that one? What the heck? Bruce Wayne living there? And look at this. The rich folks have a beautiful view of the chemical plants across the bay. There's a little crawfish spot right here. Live or boiled. Dude, I miss Cajun food. A lot of Cajun food. Just so happens to not be gluten-free. The restaurants here. I'd love to find a place, Cajun place, where I could just eat everything. Because I miss it. Did find some microwave gumbo yesterday. And etouffee, which I did eat, that was gluten-free, like TV dinner style, only in Louisiana. That was pretty good. Not the same thing, though. Not the same thing. Got to find someone to cook it all for me without any flour or any cross-contamination. It'll be pretty hard, but it's a dream. Love me some Cajun food, for sure. All right, back to the hotel. Not a normal adventure today, that's for sure. But at least we got out of the house. This is not a joke. This is actually right behind my hotel. Look at that. I feel like I'm back at Walt Disney World seeing signs like this. I also just heard a rooster crow from across the water over there, one of these houses. These are some Cajuns that made money, still want to live the old way, but also in town. Best of both worlds over there. Now, it's not a normal adventure today. At least we did get out of the house because I'm going to be stuck in a hotel for night after night after night. All weather dependent, of course. The ice storm could mostly miss Texas, or they could get the roads open real quick, and then I'll be cruising along through Texas at a loss for the hotel room, but it was better to have it than not have it. And we could be cruising home, or I could be stuck here for several days while they fix stuff just a little further west of me. I mean, even getting out of Lake Charles are huge bridges, and it only takes a little bit of ice to make them pretty much impassable. Kind of a strange adventure, like I was saying, but I would have rather done that than just sit around and tell you that I'm super bummed out about my friend and all that stuff, which is still very much true. It helps to be somewhere completely different. It also helped a lot to keep moving, which I now cannot do, so I'm kind of stuck here alone with the contemplation, but that's also good too. Process it and just work through, like, what now? What now? I was supposed to be in Palm Springs, California this very day, selling hand-carved tiki masks, which I never got a chance to finish because I had to go to Florida for the funeral and all that stuff. So when I get home, I'll be carving those masks and selling them over on my other Instagram, which is Anaheim Arts, all one word. It's where I sell my wood carvings, when I have any. I just saw a fish take a huge leap out there, just fly through the air and land. They never do it while I'm recording. Animals, like, they never do anything cool. As soon as you push the button, they do something epic. Anyway, I don't see any gators down here or frogs or anything. I see one big bird far away. So there's nothing else to show you today. But I'll be back. I'll give you an update, I guess, on the whole ice storm situation when I can. And until I'm freed up, I guess that's it. No need for an elaborate time-lapse song on the way out. Oh, I should say also, yesterday was National Hot Sauce Day. And I do have a lot of hot sauce for sale, the best hot sauce ever that I wish I had with me. Because I was eating some food last night thinking, gosh, this would be so much better with my hot sauce on it. You can get that at randomland.com as well. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me on this crazy quest home. Some of it's been very wacky and fun. Some of it's just been sort of strange and solemn. But I'm glad to have you along for the ride. Helps me feel not completely alone. But yeah, there you go. Lake Charles, Louisiana, for no reason, except that I'm stuck here for an ice storm that's happening, hopefully, mostly somewhere else. Hope everybody stays safe out there if you are in the storm's path. Catch you on the next one. Go home and sleep well. Man, I was really hoping we would see a gator down here. Instead of a gator, oh my Lord, what's happened to Spider-Man? Cajun Spider-Man has met his end. No! But as I stand here in front of this snapshot, what?